Welcome to the First Round Fantasy Podcast, your first choice for second round advice, with your hosts Gabriel Miramontes and Jacob Bartley.
Burrow on 3rd and 7. Jefferson hauls it in. Would be Max Crosby. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Advice, Gabriel Miramontes alone today. It's been a while, almost 5 or 6 months since we went on the old TikTok live, YouTube. Took a long break, much needed. You know, we're not the professionals. We got lives that we gotta earn money, make a living. But we are back today, and we appreciate you guys coming back. Whether you're on TikTok or YouTube, we're talking fantasy football today. Specifically, if I have time, we're going to talk about rookies. We're going to talk about the dynasty value of these rookies and just other players overall. And as always, these are live Q&As, so I would love for you guys to come out, ask questions, especially in TikTok. I know you guys get riled up in there. You always have some really good questions regarding fantasy football. So please, if you have any questions at all, feel free to shoot them at me, and I will do my best to answer. Am I going to give you the best answer? Maybe. Possibly not. Maybe not at all. But regardless, I'm still here, and I'm going to help you guys out today. And again, if you're over on YouTube, thank you so much for coming out today. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, at First Round Fantasy, Spotify, Apple Premium, the whole slew gamut, whatever you want to call it. We're there. Come and find us. And again, let's not take any time. If you have questions in the TikTok chat, feel free. And as always, come on over. Thanks for coming in. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment. Give me your thoughts. I'm not asking you to subscribe. I don't even like to subscribe to things. It's just, But if I watch it enough, it shows up enough, and that just means I care, right? So let me know you care. We are back, man. We are so back. Thanks for coming up, Yusuf. And people on TikTok, we are back. Yes, we are back. It's good to be back. So many things have happened. Good teams have gotten worse. Fantasy studs are now maybe middle first rounders. Who knows? It's so interesting. Let's get into rookies. I told you I wanted to talk about it today. We're going Dynasty. We're going rookies. And let's just start with the quarterbacks overall. I recently just wrapped up a Dynasty draft, Superflex 12-team league. I had the 108. That's not true. I traded that. I had the 110, the 112, and like the 209. So I did some dirty work, was able to get 2 first-round picks, and I'm really happy with who I turned out with. I can show you guys my lineup as well. Going into the draft, it's always good to just hear by comparison how everyone else is doing, But let me see here. What is it? No, it's not pick 6. It's Dynasty Assembled. Can you tell who runs that league? A guy that loves Marvels. I don't know why, but I don't hate or discriminate. But I had Jalen Hurts, Achan Walker. It was a 2 flex, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, and a tight end. That's kind of the makeup of the league. So I feel really confident about it. Going into the draft, I had Hurts, Achan Walker, London, Olave, Schultz, Diggs, Cooper, and Anthony Richardson. So I felt really good about it. That lineup did not get me into the playoffs last year. Richardson hurt, injured, had some misbelief. I had Jordan Love, but we all know that his meteoric rise at the end of the season did not make up for, in a 2 QB dynasty league. It did not make up for that first half. I was unable to catch up with the rest of the crowd. But I had a solid bench too. I really feel like I have a good depth in this league in particular. I had guys like Ezekiel Elliott, who, hey, for all intents and purposes, probably walking into 15 touches a game right now, unless you believe in Dowdle. I had Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears racked up that, Tennessee Titans backfield. So I feel pretty confident about them. Handcuffs. I'm a big guy on handcuffs, if you haven't already noticed, or if you've listened to me before. Big guy on handcuffs. Zach Charbonnet, Christian Kirk, George Pickens, Jordan Addison. So I had tons of depth going into this draft. and I feel 10 times better coming out. With the 110, I was able to get Brock Bowers. I had Dalton Schultz. He signed that 3-year, $37 million contract extension. Good for him. I don't know how it turns out for fantasy, with Stephon Diggs, new addition there. There's a lot of question marks, but there's so many question marks in the offseason. That's why we have fantasy content to just speculate, right? Literally just speculate. But regardless, I felt good with Brock Bowers. One, little hometown bias, Las Vegas Raiders fan here. So Brock Bowers, we're sitting there at 110. I took him. I feel good about it. Where do I think he falls in the overall rankings, especially within the rookies? Number one, obviously, tight end position. But let's take a look at where he might fall in just the dynasty rankings amongst the tight ends. Now, clearly, Sam Laporta took the world by storm last year. Excellent job. Trey McBride, also Kyler Murray's favorite, pass weapon. Who knows if that's going to change with Marvin Harrison? Obviously, it will, but is he still going to be relevant? Of course, he's a top 5 tight end for sure. Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, and Brock Bowers. To be honest, I'm a huge believer in rankings that if you haven't seen it, then, don't believe it until you see it. That's just where I fall with things like this. And it definitely plays a part when I'm doing redraft. Obviously it plays a part for all of you. Marvin Harrison, guys like that. I'll let him slide. I'll let him have that great rookie season. Hardly ever do rookies just steal the world and win you your leagues. It's mostly done with those veterans, the star-studded guys that have done it before, that have that continuing success for your fantasy football teams and for the fantasy landscape in general. So most notably, the rookie for me, Brock Bowers. He's 6th right now on Fantasy Pros. I don't even know if I agree with that. Look what they did last year in terms of the Las Vegas Raiders. Yes, of course, Luis, he's just backing you up. CMC first overall. Totally agree, especially in half PPR and standard. PPR, full PPR, you can make a case for it, but you can't go wrong with CMC. But back to Bowers. We saw what they did with Mayer last season. Just was not involved. Big QB problem. Fantasy-wise, Adams was subpar. But what can you do to build upon that? Well, they go out, they get the best tight end prospect, arguably ever, in Brock Bowers, and you pair him with Michael Mayer. You already know the Raiders are going to run a lot of two tight end sets. They're going to run the ball a ton. So what does that look like in terms of fantasy success? You can't really predict it, right? You can't. I don't know. Analysts out there, they stat these guys out. Sure, you can stat all you want. You realize why no one ever goes back and talks about their stats from the beginning of the year? Because literally 60-70% of the time, it's wrong. They were wrong. Fantasy football is a game of batting averages, just like it is with the MLB. You get up 10 times and you're hitting 300. In baseball, that's a great average. You still failed 70% of the time, folks. You're a failure. Just letting you know. But with that being said, Brock Bowers has not done anything yet. He comes into a team with Myers, with Adams, Zamir White. There's a very good possibility that he could be the number 2 option on that team. And there's also a very good possibility that he could be the number 3 option on that team. And that's a huge fantasy discrepancy. When we're talking about tight ends specifically, though, what do you want to do? How do you want to look at it? There's a lot to be said there. But for me personally, I will probably put TJ Hawkinson, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, David Njoku. I'll put them all ahead of Kyle Pitts and Brock Bowers. They just haven't done it yet. Kyle Pitts did it in his rookie season. You'd love to see it. Hasn't been able to replicate that success. So inevitably, those guys who can't continue that, they can't put it together consistently, I don't necessarily have much love for them. Dynasty-wise, you can make the argument. Of course, they're both younger. They're younger guys. George Kittle's 30. Travis Kelce's 34. But even if you're in a dynasty league, so much about fantasy football is winning now. Like, you want to win now, don't you? Yeah, sure. You can fire sell your team, get 6 first-round picks. Good for you. Pay $50 every year. I don't understand why you're doing that. My intention in Dynasty and redraft and anything is to win now, or at least get my money back if it's a first, second, third place type of deal where you pay out and you get your money back. I just want to win, and I want to get my money back. I want to return on my investment. Now look at me. I'm talking money over here and whatever. But regardless, in Dynasty, startup, Travis Kelce is already falling out. Like, he's what? You could probably get him in the 4th, 5th round, 6th round, even in Dynasty startups, because he's an older guy and people are writing him off. I still think that's an extreme value for a guy that's going to be number 1, number 2 on one of the best offenses in the league. So yeah, starting a fantasy team today, Dynasty League, I'm definitely going after guys like Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews. Not so much Dalton Kincaid. I really want to see what happens there. I'll probably pass on him this year in Dynasty startups and even in redrafts. That's just my plain, honest opinion. I'll pass on Kyle Pitts. Brock Bowers, I will consider it if the price is right. I'll consider it if the price is right, but I'd rather have a guy like TJ Hawkinson. So Brock Bowers, he probably falls into that 7-8 range for me. Like, if I am standing with Travis Kelce, Brock Bowers, and let's say with my first 2 picks, I got Jefferson and I don't know, just another really solid RB, and I know I can win, like with those guys to start my draft, then yeah, Travis Kelce, I want to get paid. I'll go for a guy like Travis Kelce, no doubt. But Brock Bowers probably falls in that 7-8 range. I can make a case for him there. Travis Kelce, Brock Bowers, do what you want to do. George Kittle after that, David Njoku. I like Dallas Goedert over Evan Ingram if he can stay healthy. Jake Ferguson, questions surrounding him. He had a great season last year, but ultimately they did spend a second-round pick on Luke Schoonmaker. He was injured almost the entirety of last year. So what does that look like once Schoonmaker is healthy? I don't know. Other tight ends, kind of rounding out that, Pat Freiermuth. No, I'd rather have Cole Kmet. I'd rather have a rookie like Ben Tanat out of Washington. I'd rather have Dalton Schultz. I don't know about Pat Freiermuth this year. I hope that Russell Wilson can move the ball, get things going, but who really knows? Who really knows? Let's see. Luke Musgrave. I don't know why I said it like that. Musgrave. Whatever. I like him. There's a lot of mouths to feed out there in Green Bay. A lot. So you got to keep your eye on that. But boy, could things be so much different if Jordan Love wasn't Jordan Love the first 8 weeks of the season. Because then he turned into Jordan Love, and he was great. But the first 8 weeks of the season, he was Jordan Love. And it wasn't that great. I think maybe off the top of my head, I personally witnessed him sail the ball over Luke Musgrave, who was wide open, 30 yards downfield, maybe 3 or 4 times. That fantasy scoring, that touchdown percentage, all of that goes up. We're talking about Luke Musgrave as a guy who's probably a top 12 tight end, whereas right now he's probably around 16 to 20. And again, there's just so many options there. You don't know what's going to happen, right? But why are we talking about tight end? Oh, that's right, because Brock Bowers was the guy that I drafted with the 110 pick. I felt good about it in rookie drafts. Then 112, Xavier Worthy. He was still there in that apparent draft. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on Xavier Worthy. But he was there at the 112. I decided to take him. Begs the question, right? Justin Rosses of the world. These guys that are speed demons, does it translate well into the NFL? Time will tell. You can listen to a lot of fantasy analysts out there. They always say, oh, this guy's different. This guy's different. Sure, he's also different because he's the thinnest wide receiver noted in NFL history at this very moment. Even thinner than guys like Devontae Smith. And Devontae Smith has been able to make it work. So I guess that's good. But I still like the value there because a lot of mocks and everything, he was going around like 107 to 109. And I'm like, at 112, it's between him and Keon Coleman. Number one option, number two option with a great quarterback. That's probably pretty. Actually, I just walked myself into a question that I may not know how to answer because, for all intents and purposes, yes. Like, who would you pick? Keon Coleman or Xavier Worthy? Number one option for a great quarterback, or maybe the number three option. We don't know about Rice's situation. Hollywood Brown obviously signed in the offseason. What are you doing in Kansas City with a guy like Xavier Worthy? We're talking purely dynasty rookie drafts. Who are you going with? Keon Coleman or Xavier Worthy? Two tremendous quarterbacks. What are you doing? I want to know. Hunter, Splendy, Ace, let me know. Who are you going with? Keon Coleman or Xavier Worthy? I clearly went with Xavier Worthy, but now I'm pondering it. I'm like, what could I have done? Let's see where Fantasy Pros has him ranked. Just for rookies, let's see here. They have Xavier Worthy. They have Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr. ahead of guys like Keon Coleman, who is 7th in their rankings. And I don't necessarily see it. I don't know. Brian Thomas, he's another guy that could emerge as a number one wide receiver. Ladd McConkey in the slot. We could see real, slot production there. PPR leagues. Go get him, Tiger. Yeah, that's right. Just go get him. But I don't really know other than that. Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors. Rome Odunze and Xavier Worthy are almost like similar to me. Except with Rome Odunze, he's going to be third on that team in targets unless he breaks out right away. He's playing with a rookie quarterback, which I don't care even if you're Caleb Williams. Rookie quarterbacks don't usually typically get it done for fantasy. I had an interesting debate today about Caleb Williams. Can he break the rookie touchdown record, which I believe is 32, set by Justin Herbert in his rookie season? And it's like, sure, totally. He totally can. But also the number one overall pick at quarterback has been an absolute 50-50 coin flip as of late, dating back to Eli Manning in 2004. Eli Manning, good. Jamarcus Russell, bad. Cam Newton, great. I can't think of anyone else. Here, let's see. I got an article up right here. Oh, wow. Someone died at 52. That's sad. Okay, let's see. QB drafted. Let's see. Eli Manning, good for NFL, a little bit before my time in the fantasy landscape. Alex Smith had some years later on, but none of these guys were fantasy studs. You probably traded them, moved them a lot. They were these guys that are like QB2s, QB3s. Come on up the rankings. Jamarcus Russell, fail. Matthew Stafford, good. Sam Bradford, fail. Cam Newton, short shelf life, but good. Andrew Luck, short shelf life, but good. Jared Goff has been great as of late. Baker Mayfield, resurgent, but for all intents and purposes before last year, looked at as a bust. Kyler Murray, hope his ACL heals up. Looked good at the end of last year. He's been a success. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, and now Caleb Williams. I guess it's not 50-50 if you're talking about fantasy success. But in terms of the NFL, you can argue that, 60% of these guys just haven't cut it yet. So that's kind of where I'm at with Caleb Williams. And what does that mean for Rome Odunze, third guy on the list? I don't know. And then you have Xavier Worthy. I almost would rather, I could see a world where Brian Thomas is ranked ahead of Rome Odunze, Xavier Worthy. Even if Rome Odunze is the more complete prospect, 1 year rental Keenan Allen, 2 years left on his contract. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, these guys are talented, and I could totally see him in a depth role to start. But there's also a world where he's great, wide receiver too. Excellent job, congratulations, Rome Odunze. But I'd like to think Brian Thomas could far supersede that. Keon Coleman could supersede that. A lot of people talk about Keon Coleman. He's not a complete prospect. Poor showing at the combine, whatever. Watch the tape. The guy's a stud. Guy's an absolute stud against great competition. And he gets a top 3 dynasty quarterback for the first 4 years of his rookie career. Can't say more about it. Just can't, I'd rather have him, to be honest with you. Xavier Legette, a little bit older, Donnie Mitchell, Michael Pittman, Ricky Pearsall. These are all teams that aren't going to throw the ball a ton. They're going to scheme out their quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson's going to run with the ball. Brock Purdy, we already know him, super efficient. But can he be super efficient and also provide you that really good fantasy production for a guy like, Ricky Pearsall? I don't think so. Not with Kittle, not with Devo, CMC, Ayuk. I would put Ricky Pearsall much further down. I'd probably put him ahead or behind Donnie Mitchell, who's on this list. Xavier Legette, probably not. Xavier Legette, I'd bump him down. But Troy Franklin, I'd put Troy Franklin above Ricky Pearsall. So Ricky Pearsall, 8 on Fantasy Pros, looking more like, I don't know, 11, 12 type of wide receiver in the rookie rankings, according to me. And then you could talk all day about sleepers. Literally close your eyes, point a finger. There's a sleeper there. A lot of people are talking about Javon Baker. That's great, good and dandy. But I don't know. Can Drake May get it done? Sure. But can he get it done for, we got Jalen Polk. They're going to run the ball a lot. I don't know. It's going to be tough sledding for Drake May. But definitely more help surrounding him than guys like Mac Jones of years prior. So, yeah. Those are rookie wide receivers. You can keep going down the list. Johnny Wilson, what a guy. 6'7" wide receiver. Brendan Rice, So many people are talking about, Justin Herbert going downhill. Greg Roman in the building. Going to run the ball a ton. Brought his Ravens running backs with him. They're going to run so much. Jim Harbaugh picked San Diego for Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was throwing the ball almost 40 times a game last season throughout his career so far. Now, there's things to note that go against him. Paid like a superstar quarterback, hasn't necessarily performed like one as of late. I'm torn with him. I'm torn with Justin Herbert. It's an interesting thing to do, but I don't know. But not the point of the conversation here. I just think that Brendan Rice, Ladd McConkey, those are guys that could have immediate success. But I think you're going to see it in really short bursts because that team is going to come out. They're going to run 15, 20 times in the first half. I don't know. But that defense, has it improved a lot? I don't know. Could they be playing from behind? We could be having a whole different story. Don't panic on Justin Herbert. I still think he's a top 6 dynasty quarterback. I think there's a world where he could be hyper efficient, maybe cut those 40 pass attempts in half. Definitely not half because that's just too low. But we could see him in a world where he's throwing 25 to 30 times a game and being really efficient. And I hope that's the best case scenario for him, still getting, reasonable success. I think he can do that. Troy Franklin, love the connection there with Bo Nix. He's Drew Brees, Sean Payton 2.0. With rookies, you just have to wait till you see it. But, wait, can I do it like this? Oh! I didn't know I could do that. That's pretty cool. Yay me. That's pretty cool. Didn't know you could do that. Where's my cheering sound? There it is. Gabe learned something new today. What can I do? Yep. Never stop learning, folks. Never stop learning. So again, talking about those rookie wide receivers, take your pick at that point. Brendan Rice, I feel like it's a good value. He's basically going undrafted in 3 rookie leagues or in 3-round rookie drafts, 4-round rookie drafts. I think he's going in 5-round rookie drafts. So Malik Washington, a lot of people are praising, mainly because of the speed and that system that he's been brought into with McDaniel in Miami. You could argue that that's great. I see him being more of like a high profile special teams guy, kind of right out the gate. They just extended Waddle. They still have one of the best wide receivers in football in Tyreek Hill. And as much as age 30 scares some people for wide receivers, I just think that guy's a freak. He can do it. He can continue to get that high volume. But Malik Washington may have found himself a long-term home, a fantasy success in Miami if they're able to kind of see out Tyreek Hill as he gets a little bit older. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. That's all I'm saying. I can see it. So Malik Washington, I like it. Anybody else? Not really. There's always that one name that's going to come up like 2-3 weeks into the season and nobody was talking about him. I'm not going to say that I did say stuff about Puka Nacua back in June last year, but, I don't brag. I'm humble, but, that may have been the reason why I'm over 1,000 followers on TikTok. That's the thing about TikTok, man. One video can send you to the stratosphere. It's kind of crazy how that happens. But regardless, I don't know. Jalen Coker, great production. Not the best division in college football. So you could speculate about that. But I like him. I think he's got some talent. But that's really only if you believe in Bryce Young. And I just think there's too many mouths to feed there. A lot of these other names, special teams, going to get cut. It just is what it is. Let's go back up to the top here. If I had to pick a guy who I think is going to be the most impactful rookie right out of the gate for your fantasy team, just get loaded with volume, arguably it's got to be Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors playing with subpar QB play. Sure, yeah, whatever. We get it. But clearly going to be peppered with targets. Marvin Harrison, upgraded QB with Kyler Murray. Probably going to get 6, 7, 8, 9 targets a game. Probably not 9, but 6, 7, 8 targets a game. What can you do with that in year one? I think great things. So outside of those guys, I guess outside of Brian Thomas and Keon Coleman, those are guys who should see immediate impact. I really like Xavier Legette. I just hope they scheme him well. That's what makes me really nervous. Is if you're buying in on the year 2 jump for Bryce Young, which so many people are out on him, but I believe there's a sliver of hope, just a sliver of hope that he could get it done. That Xavier Legette is a guy that I really like. I think that they're going to get involved in the running game. They're going to get him involved downfield, midfield, around the line of scrimmage, screen passes. He's just they talk a lot about running backs who just like run angry. Well, Xavier Legette is like a wide receiver who just runs angry. He's gonna blow some people over. So that's a guy I really like. And then Troy Franklin, just no competition. Cortland Sutton, they tried to trade the guy. What does that do to your morale? I don't know. You get your college QB, and if you're a fan of the show or if you listened to us before, Jacob Barley, what's his biggest argument? I love guys who played together and come into the league together, blah, blah, blah. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. That's the most notable one that I can think of off the top of my head. But clearly, there's a path to success there. And that's what I see. So at the different tiers, Xavier Legette, Troy Franklin, I can see them having a tremendous amount of success. That's kind of it. I don't really like the landing places for a lot of these other guys outside of like those top 10. So that's kind of where I fall. It's kind of where I fall. Let me get some drinking in here. Water, of course. I'm just going to pause it. If you're over on the YouTube side, which is only one, I appreciate you. And thanks for coming out. You get a big air high five from Tom Brady. Thank you, everybody. Love it. Love to see it. Love to see it. Whew. Talked about some tight ends. Talked about my rookie drafts. I just realize I'm not done with my rookie draft yet. Who else did I get? I took Brock Bowers at the 110, Xavier Worthy at the 112, and then where did I go? Where did I go from there? Let's see. Yes. I went running back Jalen Wright out of Miami. You got to love everything that's a part of that Mike McDaniel's offense. We talked about Malik Washington just prior to this with the wide receivers. Jalen Wright. Mostert, 31. Looked great last year. He could be great this year. But he's a third-round pick. Fourth. No, that's not true. He slid to the fourth round. But there's a world where HN dealt with injuries last year. Mostert dealt with injuries throughout his career, with the exception of last year. So last year was technically an anomaly for a guy like Raheem Mostert. But Jalen Wright could very easily find himself with immediate fantasy production. And I took him. I took him with the 1-0, with the 3-0 something. I got him in the beginning of the third round. So rookie drafts, Brock Bowers 110, Xavier Worthy 112, Jalen Wright somewhere early in the third. And I felt pretty confident with that draft. Brock Bowers, I got Dalton Schultz there. Might start him the first week or two, see what they do with Brock Bowers, how they use him. You know, it takes time generally for tight end prospects to kind of develop, even if you are considered the number one tight end prospect of all time. Cool, diddly. I get that. But I felt pretty good about it. And then after the draft, our league does this thing where the free agency pool opens up right after the draft ends. I'll tell you right now, I am not a fan of it. That's right. I can boo it. I guess I gotta do thumbs up. That would show that I like it. But I don't like it. It's a thumbs down, actually. I just feel like, dude, we just drafted. Now I gotta check in with people, talk to my wife, talk about the draft, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden the waiver wire is open. And I get to the waiver wire 10 minutes after the draft ended, and there's already been 15, 20 transactions. So I'm a big proponent of right off the bat, let's have an off-season fab in Dynasty leagues. Once that waiver wire opens, 1,000 fab, and they hit every day. They just run every day, because that was honestly some boo nanny. But a guy that I really liked was picked up right after the draft. He's a really deep sleeper. I'm sure you've heard about him, because if you're anywhere in the fantasy landscape, you've heard about this guy. But it's Tyrone Tracy, running back, rookie running back for the New York Giants. Converted wide receiver. It's going to be interesting to see how that translates. Devin Singletary has been fairly well. He's done fairly well for himself with stints in Buffalo last year, in Houston. Now he finds himself without Saquon Barkley. But, Eric Gray's there as well. I don't know if Hightower's there yet, but those guys are guys that can definitely fill in. They can definitely compete. But, this guy's giving me Antonio Gibson vibes. Was Antonio Gibson, just because he's a converted wide receiver, that's purely the only, logical train of thought that I can do. But if he can be anywhere like a Antonio Gibson, still has value. Found a new team. New England's his new team. Has value. And Daniel Jones, hey, buddy, you're going to be throwing a lot of 2-yard screens and 3-yard passes. That's just the name of the game out there. You guys didn't really do much to improve the offensive line. I could see there's a world where this guy gets some real action. And Tyrone Tracy, running back for the New York Giants. Is it great action? Is he top 10 rookie running back? No, not at all. Can he be a top 45 running back for your fantasy team? Absolutely. That's bye weeks in week 8, 9. He might have already asserted himself by then. I think he's uber athletic. The tape is good. And there's a pathway to success for a guy like Tyrone Tracy. That's all I'm going to say. There's a pathway to success. You agree with me? No? Anybody? Jordan, Gloria, J-Rod, Spinley? I don't know. I agree with myself, but that's fine. Let's play some 70s psychedelic. I don't even know if you guys can hear it that well. You know what I always like to do? I like to go back and I like to look at trades that were made and then everyone flipped out at the time. And now that it's just kind of over, things have panned out. Things are different now. And it's just like, oh, wow, that everyone was crazy for no reason. I love those kind of trades. I kind of want to pull some up right now. Let's look at some trades that have happened over this off season. Let's see here. This was 6 days ago. Okay. Let's look 2 days ago. Wait, am I going backwards? 2 months ago. There we go. Oh wow, we got a lot of trades. 4 months ago. Okay. Let's keep going back. Let's go back. Let's see. 5 months ago. There was so much action in this Dynasty League right after the Super Bowl. I was just like, what is going on? This was a trade. What do you think about it? Christian McCaffrey for Javonte Williams and Kyron Williams. Ugh. I don't know. I think you'd rather just hold on to I'd rather hold on to Christian McCaffrey there. Kyron Williams, obviously a tremendous amount of success. Javonte Williams, year 2 removed from his blown ACL kneecap issue. But CMC, at least the next 2 years, going to be one of the number 1 running backs in fantasy. I don't know how I feel about that. Kyron Williams could be here today, gone tomorrow. He's an undrafted rookie or a 5th round, 6th round, whatever the case he is. They didn't spend money on him. We saw what happened to James Robinson when he took the fantasy world by storm. I like the CMC side here. Let's look at another one. This was 5 months ago. Expanded a little bit. Let's see. Jaden Reed in the 2025 third for a 2025 first. Some big spenders. Got to go with Jaden Reed here. 2025 didn't help me in this draft, and I have to wait a whole nother year for it to help me again. You're really banking on the fact when you make trades like this with draft picks that guy's going to suck, and you're going to get a projected 4, maybe top 6 draft pick. That's really it. I'd rather just keep the value now. Jaden Reed, great rookie showing campaign. I like the Jaden Reed side there. Let's see. This was Jahmyr Gibbs, a 2025 second and a 2026 second for a 2025 first, a 2025 first. What? How did I not see this trade go through? For 3 first-round picks? Oh, my goodness gracious. What was that? Hi, diddly dumb. Jahmyr Gibbs in 2 seconds for 3 2025 first-round picks. I mean, I like Jahmyr Gibbs, but golly gee willikers. That's a lot. And guess what? That trade was 5 months ago, and probably that was on January 9th. That same day, he was traded again. This time, Jonathan Taylor, 2024 second, 2026 third, and a 2024 104. And it was for Jahmyr Gibbs, a second, and a 2026 second. I mean, what are these guys doing? That's big. Literally made the trade, and then 2 hours later made this trade. Gotta love the guys in our league. I love it. Gibbs on the move again. This was the same day. Oh my goodness. Jahmyr Gibbs was traded 3 times in one day. And this last trade, I think this is the last trade that he was involved in. But think about this. Someone traded 3 first-round picks, 2025 first for Jahmyr Gibbs. Absolutely insane. And then eventually they get that flip, and it becomes Jahmyr Gibbs in a 25 second for George Pickens, Jameson Williams, and the 2024 111. Honestly, I'd probably have the 111 in George Pickens there. I don't know why, but clearly traded that many times in one day. And in one day, oh my goodness, that was insane. This was back in January. This was Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Ramondre Stevenson in the 102. Yikes. What up, Scott? I feel like I remember your name before. Splendidly keeps coming back and leaving. I get it, man. Just if you don't want to be here, just don't be here. This was an awful trade. I don't even know what the hell this was. Mari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Ramondre Stevenson in the 102. Oh, Joe Burrow's there for Terry McLaurin, Joe Burrow, James Cook, and the third. So you got to think that 102 ended up being Caleb Williams because Marvin Harrison went first. So then it stacks up to Caleb Williams, Ramondre, and Amari, and Ezekiel for Jake Browning, Jake Burrow, Joe Burrow, James Cook, Terry McLaurin. I'd probably go with the more valuable younger assets. I'd probably go with Joe Burrow here. Joe Burrow, James Cook, Terry McLaurin. Yeah, that's what I'd do. I feel confident with that. Let's see again. Let's see. This one was Noah Brown. This was on the 10th. Noah Brown, Devon Achane in a third. Wait, isn't this me? Hey, this was my trade. Let's go. Moon, thanks for the question, man. I guess I'll get to my trade in a second. How do you start a Dynasty League? Is there a specific website or something? So I use Sleeper. I've transported all of my Dynasty Leagues to Sleeper. I feel like it's the most user-friendly interface for Dynasty Leagues. We had a Dynasty League on Yahoo before, and although you could trade picks, the way that the app reset itself every year, it was like you traded picks for no reason because then you'd have to manually assign them the following offseason. And it made absolutely no point. It was kind of ridiculous. I didn't like it. We tried ESPN doing a Dynasty League on there, and kind of the same deal. Just wasn't really like user intuitive. But Sleeper Fantasy. There are some really like out of this world crazy one. Like my fantasy league is a big one. I personally don't like the user interface of that. I think it's really wonky. It's mainly designed for like desktop use. Sleeper is the one that I use. I have 5 Dynasty leagues that I run on Sleeper. And so many people talk about like, oh, that many Dynasty leagues. It's like, dude, Dynasty, you just set it and forget it. Like, I'm not making tons of trades unless I absolutely need to. And my team is my team. I don't have to think about it. So you'd be surprised with how many Dynasty leagues you can get into and feel not as much stress as you think you would. But Moon, great question, man. I use Sleeper. What do you guys use? Anybody else out there? Anybody else? Anybody else? What do you guys use? Help Moon out. I've been trying to find how to do it for a while. Oh, man, Sleeper is so easy. You can do it from your phone or desktop. Like literally right now, I'm on Sleeper. I'm looking at some trades from one of the leagues, and it's so easy. Everything's labeled. It's intuitive, really user-friendly. And on the phone, it's just that much better. I just love it on the phone. So yeah, Sleeper it is. And you know what, Moon? Second question of the day, and just for giggles and for fun, good question. You get a crowd cheer. You get a crowd cheer today. Pump it up. Thanks, Moon. Appreciate you. He asked the question. That's so awesome. So should the rest of you. We're talking fantasy football, guys. There's no hit or misses here, Just fire away. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, I was on my trade. Let's go over it. Yeah. I made some trades in January. Who does that? Take a break from fantasy football, guys. Not 6 months like I did, but yeah. Yeah, Moon. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's just like, hey, you look at that. You get a thumbs up too. There you go, buddy. Or lady. But nonetheless, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Hope you have a great rest of your day, Moon. Let's see. Where was that trade I made? No, that wasn't me. Was it here? No. Okay, so this is the trade where I acquired Devin Achan. And hey man, I think I was helping out somebody here. I'm almost afraid to say it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I got Noah Brown and Devon Achan and a 2025 first. And I sent away Jonathan Taylor. So I got a 2025 first and Devon Achan, essentially, because Noah Brown was just clickbait and not really a part of the trade. And then, yeah, I don't like that trade. I would have, looking back, was I drinking? No, because I don't typically drink. So I think I was just bored. What was I doing? January 10th, 2024. Probably on the end of my Christmas break, just chilling. Probably like 1 a.m. Fired off a trade, and there you go. That's how horrible trades are made, folks. When you're bored, don't make trades when you're bored. Make trades when you want to make trades. But the very next one was me as well. I traded Keaton Mitchell away. Who did I make this trade with? Oh, I felt good about this one. This was a rebound trade. I needed the rebound trade. David, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in. But Christian Kirk in a 2026 second, and I gave away Keaton Mitchell. As much as I like Keaton Mitchell with Derrick Henry and no more Greg Roman, kind of scares me. Feel good about that. Felt good about that trade. I don't know. What do you guys think? Then we got the draft order. So there was a long lull here. Long lull. And then we get to March, and trades just explode. Let's see. Darnell Mooney for a 2024 third. I'd rather have the 2024. That's kind of where the realm is where I got Jalen Wright. So I like it. I like it. Let's see. Do you think Josh Allen would still be QB1 without wide receiver, and Jalen would still be QB2 without Kelsey? Yes. Good question. Not a bad question. I like guys in fantasy that have done it before. So has Josh Allen done it before? Yes. So what? You lose Stephon Diggs. You know, he's been unhappy every place he's went. Minnesota unhappy. Buffalo unhappy. He's probably going to make Stroud semi-good still. But I don't know. In terms of like dynasty rankings, let me see. I can probably show you right now. I like to use Fantasy Pros as kind of like a good basis point of like where these guys are going. And then I like to just crap all over it. That's my thought. But let me see here. Oh, I haven't even my thought yet. I'm a rambler, Moon. Give me a second. Dynasty, QBs, PPR. They have Josh Allen number 1. I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with that. You know, this is a time debate. You look at, dude, I don't know, man. If Rashee Rice gets suspended, you're still looking at Xavier Worthy, which that's a whole nother ball game to play because I don't even know the whole speed thing, and guys like Justin Ross have passed. They worry me, but still, you add a guy like that into that offense. You signed Hollywood Brown. You still have Kelsey. I don't know. Just more complete weapons to me. And then again, do you really think Josh Allen is going to run for 15 rushing touchdowns again, which is literally all of his production last year? I think we could see a strong fan. I mean, Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl last year and wasn't great for fantasy early on. I think we can still see there's a world where we can see him return to form. I would pick Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen, have you seen that strength of schedule, though? Holy crap. They got some tough games this year. Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, Arguments to be made that the end of that last season was not great. To be honest, rushing production in fantasy football is so important. That's why I think Fantasy Pros has Josh Allen number 1. They have Jalen Hurts number 3, Lamar Jackson number 4. I like a guy who's not going to bust me weeks, who's going to give me a consistent floor. And guess who busted you sometimes? Hurts, Allen, Lamar Jackson. They gave you busts. Now, everybody can give you a bust week. Don't get me wrong. But ultimately, Patrick Mahomes, number 1 for me. You say good because I ain't trying to rely on Mahomes this year. He sold me hard last year. I get it, man. Look, listen. When you're talking about discrepancy between the top 3 guys in terms of fantasy production, it's not that big of a point differential. All right. I think only was it Lamar Jackson's MVP season where he literally was like 40 points better than the next quarterback. The point differential is not that much to me. These guys they're not gonna dud you up. They're gonna be good. And totally, man, I'm here to just comfort you in the fact that Josh Allen's good. Number 1 overall. There's a world where that is a possibility. And this early in the offseason, that's kind of how we have to live, right? There's a world where, it can be done. He's done it before. All right. I'm just saying, I think I want Patrick Mahomes. As for Jalen Hurts, sure. I could see him being number 3. I could also see Lamar Jackson being number 3, Joe Burrow being number 3, CJ Stroud being number 4 or 5. I don't have a problem with these guys. I think Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes weren't those, early second round or those late second round picks, like kind of where they're going right now. Jalen Hurts, he put up some stinkers at the end of the year last year. I'd like to think that they have it figured out. I know you're saying without Kelsey, what does that mean? But, I guess less tush pushes. He had quite a few rushing touchdowns last year. But, figure it out, my guy. Figure it out. So I like Jalen Hurts. I like Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert's a big value. And I talked about him a little bit earlier, where a guy like Justin Herbert, who inherits a new offense, Greg Roman, run heavy, brings all his Ravens guys, blah, blah, blah. We've already heard it before. Are they going to throw a lot? Is there a world where you can be hyper efficient? All of those things are possible. And yet, right now, Fantasy Pros has him as QB 8. I think that's a good spot for him. Definitely ahead of Caleb Williams. I don't know. I want to believe in Justin Herbert, but Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, I'll take him over Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. Yeah, we don't have to go any further. I'll take him over all those guys. But Kyler Murray, Jordan Love, I could see it. I could see it. I would money on the table right now. Give me Kyler Murray. Give me Jordan Love over Justin Herbert. Call me crazy. That's just kind of where I'm feeling today. Can opinions change? Certainly. Opinions can change. And boom, the rock gets punched. I don't know why I wanted to do the rock punch. I've just been waiting for a time to use it. And that was the time I found it to be. Let's close out with some running back talk. Dynasty. Let's go rookies. Because this year obviously was an underwhelming class for rookie running backs. Jonathan Brooks was the number one running back drafted. He finds himself in Carolina. And I'm going to say this a lot, right? So many question marks. You just don't know. You just don't know. But with a guy like Jonathan Brooks, also coming off an ACL, which was in November. So it's very unlikely that he starts the year fresh. They say all signs report that he's good for training camp. I don't know about that. I don't know. It's coach talk. It's June. Let's give it some time. Let's see him play in a preseason game. If he can get into at least one or two of those, just so I can see it, I'll be much more likely to head that route. Moon. You're going over the moon with these likes, my guy. But thank you. I appreciate it. Yusuf, he says his second round in redraft is looking gross. Okay. I get it. Redraft leagues? Okay, though. I like this. Not all. It doesn't all have to be Dynasty. Let's see. Is looking gross. Who are players that you are targeting in that round? I don't feel good about a lot of those players. Let's take a look, man. Let's take a look. So we're thinking guys in the second round, 12-team league. That's when we encroach. Okay. I see what you're talking about. Michael Pittman, Chris Olave, Brendan Ayuk. You can reach for a guy like Josh Allen there. Marvin Harrison, rookie, too soon for me. Not feeling it. But ultimately, Jahmyr Gibbs, according to Fantasy Pros right now, he's the first pick of the second round. Love that pick. Devontae Adams, question marks. You're right. Yusuf, I don't like it. Saquon Barkley, not a big fan of it. Michael Pittman and Chris Olave, wide receivers that can get you volume, that are the number one options for their team. Those are guys that I'll probably target in that general vicinity there, especially if you went running back with your first pick. Even if you didn't, if you want to start out with two solid running backs, or two solid wide receivers, there are so many wide receivers this year. And there are so many running backs that are going later in drafts. Like Jerome Ford. Guys, what? Like, Chubb's not coming back for a while, and Jerome Ford is, I got to look this up because now I'm just curious. I'm going to look up ADPs. I use average draft position, by the way, to look up running backs. But let's just look at those in particular. We're going to go running back. We're going to go full PPR. And let's see here, ADP, running back, all teams. And then what I like about this is you can set it from like any point onward. So obviously there weren't that many today. Let's go back to May. Let's go since the draft. Since the draft to today, June 3rd. Where are these guys going? Running backs, Jerome Ford. Boom, 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 boom. Dude, oh my gosh. Dude, He's going... Jerome Ford is a guy I like late. Blake Corum is a guy I like late. Gus Edwards, Nick Chubb, Trey Benson, Devin Singletary, Brian Robinson, Tyjae Spears, Zach Moss, Jordan Brooks. Those are all guys going in like the 8th, 9th round values. They're guys that are going to get good work. Corum, yet to be seen. Brook, yet to be seen. But I'm stashing those guys in the 8th, 9th round. If they fall to the 10th, give me some more. Like, those are all guys I like in the late round. So to answer your question, Yusuf, to kind of circle back to it, Chris Olave's there, Michael Pittman's there, Brendan Ayuk is there. I like the wide receivers that I know are going to capitalize on the volume that they receive, even if they play in low volume offenses. I know Chris Olave with the Saints and Michael Pittman with the Colts. There's some low volume passing offense there. But I do think there's a world. Wait, hold on. I got to verify to continue. Drag the puzzle. What? Since when did TikTok do this? Get out of my face. Okay, there we go. So Michael Pittman, Chris Olave, Brendan Ayuk, Travis Etienne, Drake London, end of round 2. Mike Evans, end of round 2. The wide receivers, Yusuf. To answer your question in short, there's a lot of wide receivers that I'd be targeting in round number 2 of the fantasy draft. So thanks for the question, Yusuf. Let's get him a clap in here because we got very few questions today. So let's get some claps. Thanks, Yusuf. Appreciate you, bud. So anyways, where were we? Back to these rookies. Everybody in TikTok, thanks for coming in or scrolling by, I guess. Glad to have you scroll on by. Appreciate it. Jonathan Brooks, we already kind of covered him. Trey Benson, he's going to be backing up James Conner. James Conner playing on the last year of his contract. First 1,000-yard rushing season last year, which is kind of hard to believe because he had some good fantasy years in Pittsburgh. But Trey Benson, for all intents and purposes, hard runner who could be playing on a great team. For now, we'll say a good team They finally got rid of Cliff Kingsbury. Good riddance. So Trey Benson, I like him, especially if Connor goes down. Blake Corum, I think it's appropriately written out that way because Trey Benson probably has a clearer path to success. Blake Corum could actually find some use right away. I think the Los Angeles, what are their names? Rams put a lot of emphasis and a lot of work on Kyron Williams last year. And again, they owe this man literally nothing. Late round draft pick, James Robinson, 2.0. He could be here today, gone tomorrow. I've said that a few times already. Blake Corum is a guy who's short, compact, runs pretty good, and can get a little gritty when need be. I like Blake Corum, probably over a guy like Trey Benson, because I think he has if you're looking for a win now, Blake Corum is going to give you a little bit more fantasy success out of the gate. But Trey Benson, like him long term. Jalen Wright, like him long term. Great situation there in Miami. And by golly, I got him in the 3rd round. That felt good. Felt real good. The sports addict, I know that feels good too. Cooper, I know it feels good. But anyways, Jalen Wright, love him. Marshawn Lloyd, okay. Ray Davis, okay. Bucky Irving, okay. Bucky Irving's another one. They don't really owe a lot to Rachaad White. But what's so interesting about Bucky Irving is that he's a passing downs back. And Rachaad White excelled in the passing down role. What he did not excel in was the running back role, under 4 yards per carry. So you go out and you get another passing down back. It's just kind of confusing to me. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. And then we can talk about deeper guys. Honestly, Kimani Vidal, so many people have talked about him. When you're looking at running backs like this, though, in terms of like where they went, their pathway to success, Los Angeles Chargers, we've talked about it. They're going to run the ball a ton. Gus Edwards, older. J.K. Dobbins, injury prone. I'd pick Vidal over, like right now, Fantasy Pros has him as running back 9. Give him to me over Estime, Bucky Irving, Ray Davis, Marshawn Lloyd. I'd put him probably in that running back 5 category right now, where compared to Fantasy Pros, they have him at the running back 9. And I just think, why? Fantasy football has proven to us time and time again, it's not about skill, it's about opportunity. And this guy has probably one of the clearest routes to opportunity that I can see. Same with Tyrone Tracy, who's number 11. Give me him over Will Shipley. Give me him over Estime. Give me him over Bucky Irving. Because he's got a clear pathway to success. Devin Singletary didn't catch the ball a lot. He's clearly a pure runner. And Daniel Jones, Dinkin Duncan. Welcome to the new world. Tyrone Tracy, clearly, they have him at 11. I can see him as close as 8 for me. And then Braylon Allen, just a bruiser, but not doing anything. Dylan Labe, another pass-catching scout. What are they doing? 14 Fantasy Pros ranking for Dylan Labe, pass-catching specialist. All they have there is Zamir White and Madison, runners. Madison, a little bit of passing down work, but mostly runners. Dylan Labe, PPR value, maybe not early on in the season, but they have him at 14 right now. Give me him over Will Shipley. Give me him over Braylon Allen. That puts him in the 10, 11 range. I like that much more. So that's kind of where I'm at with the rookie running backs. Frank Gore Jr., love to see it. Hope he gets good. Hope he has success, but, mitigated right now behind James Cook. Of course, why we always have to mention the elephant in the room, the San Francisco running backs. So I don't even know his last name. Isaac Garendo, someone to keep an eye on. Could be a good handcuff. But there's so many people there, right? Tyrion Davis-Price, CMC, obviously. But situations to monitor. It's June, folks. It's June. And again, I thank you so much for being here today. If you stopped by, left a like, I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. It meant so much to me. On summer break, folks, summer to be coming back a lot. We got a little bit of love today. I want to see a lot of love in the future. That's all I'm saying. Moon knows what it's like. Moon's giving me a lot of love today. Imagine if there were 10 moons here. That's a lot of moons. A lot. That's love right there. But Moon was enough for me today. And obviously, if you were joining us in the YouTube chat, thank you for your questions. It's nice to see some returning faces, especially after many months on hiatus, to come back and to get a few questions. Really exciting to see. Really good to see. And I appreciate all of you. So thank you so much for stopping by today. If you're on YouTube, you get to see this cool little infographic. If you're on TikTok, you just get to see my face. But hey, first round fantasy, thanks you. Actually, TikTok, no, you get claps. There you go. Have a great day, right? Excellent. And on YouTube, as obviously, thank you guys so much for coming back. If you see anything you liked here today, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, all that nonsense. I'm just happy if you come and join in on the conversation. That's all I want. I want to talk fantasy football and life, whatever. You want to cry a little bit? I'm here. I'm a shoulder to cry on. And I'll continue to be here a little bit more over the summer. So please don't stop. That was going to sound really weird, but keep on coming by. Appreciate seeing you. And I'll see you guys all probably tomorrow. Let's talk some more rookies. Let's talk some values in Dynasty. Overall, it's Dynasty time. It's not redraft time, but I'm also going to answer your redraft questions. And with that being said, I'll talk to you all later. Peace.